All right, this one. This one I actually got recommended. This one I actually got recommended on my For You. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. Okay, okay. Why do woke people look like this? By aesthetics waiting. Good question. Why do they? What is our theory? Why do they look like that? My simple theory is that, you know, since what's the word? They pick something out, maybe anything LGBTQ related, feminism, whatever, right? And instead of this becoming part of their identity, it becomes their whole identity, and they need to wear that to even to a degree where it's visible, because that's the only meaningful thing they have about themselves. That's my theory. Well, we'll see what this good man has to say. Let's see.
Have you ever looked at a woke person and wondered, why did you choose to look like this?
That's a good question. I have looked at the woke person, and I do not know. But like I said, I just set my theory and on why that is, why that stereotypical look. Right? This is mostly about that stereotypical look. I don't know why that stereotypical look even exists. I'll be real. I have no idea. But it is a stereotype, and I mean, it's literally here.
People on like the woke side of politics will typically try and look a certain way. These people will most stereotypically dye their hair a primary color, get some nose piercings, maybe like a few tats.
Is that a split tongue? Brother, that is a split tongue. Why would you do that to yourself?
Women, they'll have like that really strange haircut where it's like half a fringe, like it doesn't, they don't commit to like the full fringe. It seems like all of it is just to like draw attention to themselves. It's kind of like a poison dart frog, like they're trying to like...
Oh, I've heard that comparison, right? Toxic animals will usually like brightly colored to like scare off predators. Maybe it is something like that.
Draw attention to themselves with like this crazy combination of colors and unorthodox things that you would see in nature. And I always like question like, what's the internal logic? Why would a woman consciously choose to make her hair blue? Why would she choose to get a bull ring in her nose? Why would she...
Isn't that a Nisa?
Hair blue? Why would she...
Wait, is that is a Nisa? Wait, that is Idub's husband. Look at that.
Choose to get a bull ring in her nose. Why would she make these decisions? What's the internal logic here? It's like drawing attention to yourself in the cheapest way possible. It's like going up to people with like a bell and like ringing it in their face like, hey, look at me, look at me. Yeah, I guess that does get attention, right? Like people will look at you, but it's not...
He isn't wrong. He isn't wrong. That would get attention. He's not wrong, sure.
Necessarily for a good reason. It's like very obnoxious. It's getting attention in like a very obnoxious way. It's like just assaulting people's eyes with like bright colors, right? And like I've never seen someone that was like above a 5 out of 10 have hair dyed a primary color. Like
shots fired. Speaking of which, he's not really... See, the problem isn't that they're not good looking, it's that whatever they're doing to themselves makes them look worse. Usually. That is what I see.
Blue, green, purple. I've never seen a man or woman that was above a 5 out of 10 choose to dye their hair in those colors. And I think a reason for that is when you know that your face is subpar and you just don't look that good, you kind of have to like distract people from it. Whereas if you had like a genuinely like good looking face, like you are like a 7 out of 10, why would you bother putting on all these bells and whistles to distract people? You kind of want people to just look at your face, right? Like, have you ever seen those like Antifa mugshots and they look like raiders in a Fallout game?
Damn, dude, damn, I didn't know which direction this would go. See, I think it's less so to distract from the face. I think it's less so to distract from the face, and more so that you're essentially wearing what you're identifying with, essentially. I think that's more so the truth. I think that's more so the reason that they're essentially just wearing their identity, because that's, like I said, that's literally all they have to offer. Evolution is actually actually alive and have a will. Oh, we have a video for that one right after this one. Evolution is alive. Survival of the fittest is actually alive.
They're all like definitely under 5, and like they're just, it looks like they're irradiated. Like they look like something has gone wrong. And
what the f? There are some heavy modifications.
you know, of course, a lot of them will have like nose rings and earplugs and like blue hair or whatever, right? And you kind of don't see good-looking people do this. If you're like a woman and you're a Victoria's Secret model or had that equivalence in looks, why would you get a nose ring? Why would you get purple hair? Like, you're already getting enough attention, and you're getting attention in like...
It's not only that. When we look at what is conceived as, or like what is understood as pretty, as beautiful, and we look at women, right? Those are mostly women. Some dudes do that too, but it's mostly women, let's be honest. How do I put this? Like, what men find pretty and what even women find pretty is not what these women are doing to themselves. So it can't be just, it can't be a looks thing in particular. I'm not gonna lie. People usually don't find that very appealing. Like, there's a reason why people genuinely, not all, but a lot of people really don't like septum piercings. A lot of people really don't like septum piercings.
Like a very like organic and, you know, desirable way. Why would you want to ring a bell in people's faces, right? And, you know, these people are often like very...
Why is more Pegasus? And Frogan? Hello, Frogan. Hello.
Much disliked, unless you're like in like these specific bubbles that they operate in. Outside of it, people like this are like really disliked. And I think like one of the reasons, like aside from like the obvious like political disagreements, right, I think like instinctually people get that this woke look is kind of insincere. If you talk to these people, you'll very quickly realize that they're actually kind of boring. Despite like them trying to like portray themselves as these like super countercultural, outspoken rebels, they're not. They have like the safest opinions like you'll ever hear. Like, have you ever heard a talk?
True. I'm gonna say this. I've witnessed this in modern times, especially among Zoomers. Why are y'all fuckers so safe horny? Like, why are you so safe horny? Why? Why are you safe horny? I'll be real. Why are you safe horny? Stop this. It is cringe. Also, thank you, Samax. We'll look at that. I've noticed in particular why some dudes, for some odd reason, are like see, safe horny. There's a lot of dudes who I 100% know that they're fucking lying on what they're attracted to. There is no reason to believe that there's this many men that fight online that fight muscular women, like really really muscular women attractive. I know for a fact that you're lying, and you're only saying this so you don't come off as like a weirdo. Because we know that if there is a muscular woman and a feminine woman, that your impulses will go to the feminine woman. We know that. Safe horny, what's that? Horny in a way that is inoffensive. I don't know how to exactly put it. Like, you can tell when somebody's safe horny. When they find things attractive or get horny over things where you could just shake your head because, like, why? How could you? How does that make logical sense that you find this attractive? You only say that because you aren't allowed to say anything else. And this particular revolves around boobs and booty when it comes to women. I don't know if there's safe horny women out there.
Talking point that was like new, that you haven't heard before from someone that had purple hair. Never.
What would you change about the Constitution, if anything?
And that is my note answering this question.
Have a good one.
In fact, people like this often have talking points that are the same as a Fortune 500 HR department. It is like the most mainstream establishment talking points like you could ever imagine. They'll never say anything that would get them ejected from a job interview in a Fortune 500 corporate interview. Like, they'll never say anything like that because their opinions, like, despite them wanting you to think they're like this countercultural rebel, they're not. Like, BlackRock agrees with them. So it's like, how are you like...
Black woke. See? Pug, you think men play the politically correct? Yes, men do that. Men do that. There is many men out there, for example, that will act like a leftist to get pussy when they don't agree with it. There is so many men out there who play the game in that way. Here's something funny. You know why companies like BlackRock, etc., right, that they want DEI, right? You know why they love DEI? Like Amazon and stuff also love DEI. You want to know why they love DEI? Because the more diverse the workplace is, the less likely it is for those workers to unionize. Because, let's face it, it is unlikely that a mixed group of white, black, and Latino people would unionize because of differences. That's why they love that shit. Because it would never happen that these people would unionize, which they should, again, just to fuck them over, fuck their plan over.
This like rebel, like it doesn't follow. Here's a litmus test. If you speak to like a average corporate HR department and they like what you're saying, or they agree with what you're saying, or don't see a problem with what you're saying, you're not a rebel. Almost by definition, it's almost ontologically true that
I just noticed, where's there a water cooker? Why is there a water cooker? I just noticed, have you noticed that? There's a water cooker in the background. Is he filming this in the kitchen? Maybe he just has a water cooker in his room.
That you're not a rebel, because like that is like the establishment of our times, right? Now, on the other hand, I think I'm genuinely outspoken, and I definitely have a rebellious streak to me. Ever since I was like a little child, I've been like rebellious, right? That's just part of my personality. And if you look at quote-unquote woke content creators and look at the types of sponsors they get on like their channels on like YouTube and Twitch, it's like the most serious money sponsors you could imagine. BlackRock proxy sponsors like Amazon, insurance companies, phone service, like real serious money like is backing these like so-called rebels, right? On the other hand, like when I look into like my business email for this channel, the last sponsor I got was for a pump.
What? Wait a minute, huh? Nah.
That's right. On the other hand, like when I look into like my business email for this channel, the last sponsor I got was for a pump.
What the heck? Yeah, bro, what? Nah, chat, when am I should establish a business email just so I can get sponsorships for penis pumps. Getting that Love Sends sponsorship. What the fuck? There's a common joke about NC Straight Cat and being like, "Shoo, go away, you bastard." And then Pretty Lady, oh, cute cat. And the guy turned 180 degrees and yeah, come here, cute kitty. Spineless men. That's what it is, though. And I'm gonna say this: women don't find this. Women don't find this particularly attractive. Like, women can tell that you're a bitch if you do that. Women can tell if you're a bitch. They can tell. 100%. I've also noticed that women can tell if you have a corn addiction or not. I don't know how you do it. I do not know how women do it, but I've noticed that.
I'm not joking. The type of sponsorship offers I get are for like shoestring and bubblegum. It's pretty obvious that someone like me is not in the establishment. I have much more of a stronger claim to be a rebel than someone getting, you know, sponsors by Audible, right? And here's like a fun little game you can play with these people. Like, if you ask them, what's the most outspoken opinion you have? What's an opinion, a talking point that you have that is gonna be edgy? They're gonna say like some boring shit. Like, they're not gonna say
I support the current thing. I've seen this one before, but it's still funny. It is still funny, but it's true. It's true. I support the current thing. See, here's I'm gonna say it. Here's something interesting. So, the same people that are now advocating for Gaza are the same people that formerly advocated for Ukraine until it became no longer a trend, until it became boring and other places get important. And I can guarantee you, after Gaza, the same people will find a new thing to support and virtue signal about. Duck, are you a woman? I'm thinking. See, you are not forward thinking. You are not forward thinking. I think of the future goonettes of this channel, which you are one of. I am thinking of the future women that goon to me. Anyways, though I do agree, if you have no opinions of your own, it's a bit disappointing. You just want to argue, don't you? Yeah, true. It's like there's nothing really to talk about. Like, we agree on anything.
Anything that's gonna blow your mind. They're not gonna say anything that's like, whoa, I didn't expect that. I've never heard that before.
Because true feminism at its core is about the safety and equity for women in society.
Why is she wearing? Why are you wearing? Why are you wearing? You cannot tell me. Okay, you cannot tell me. You cannot tell me that you do not want to draw attention to your tits. You cannot tell me that. You cannot tell me that you don't want to draw attention to your chest. You can tell me that you don't want to do that. Why would you dress like this? This is like off-putting. I don't even want to look at the screen. This is so off-putting. Why do you dress like this? Also, probably means, like, is it a wife's duty to serve her husband? I'd say yes, and the reverse is also true. Anyways.
At its core is about the safety and equity for women in society, so that women cannot just, it's not about dismantling the family, it's about creating agency for women to choose their lives,
They're not rebels. You know that, like, phenotype of, like, that old librarian with her hair bunched up and she's, like, finger wagging at kids for being too loud in the library? This phenotype didn't go away. It just morphed into this type of woke HR department person. It is the same fusty librarian.
I believe that this is mostly an issue because these people have nothing else to turn to. That is how I see it. These people have nothing else to turn to, and that's why they turn out this way. They got nothing. They identify with something, and it just becomes their entire personality. Like, people go there are people who go through horrible things and not get traumatized. There's people who deal with the trauma, and then there's people who make that trauma their entire personality, where that trauma is just everything they are. It is just crazy.
You know, finger wagging at kids, but with, like, a Fortnite skin. It's the same type of person. It's the same personality structure. You know, that's very, like, strict and orthodox, but just in, like, another thing. And this is what, like, these people don't get. Because they are, like, purposefully going against, like, you know, what was, like...
Also, they're not really rebels. The original left... The original left that I know of from, like, at least in Europe, the original left was oftentimes anti-establishment, and now they're technically anti-establishment again because they're losing the grip, but they usually were anti-establishment, and now they're, like, pro-establishment, their own establishment, of course, which is really interesting. They were once rebels, but now they're no longer.
Traditional masculinity or femininity, that they end up becoming a stereotype in themselves. It's like having an oppositional existence to a stereotype still makes you a stereotype. They don't get that. Like, if your life is dedicated to not doing what is traditionally thought of as feminine or masculine, you're still a stereotype. You haven't left that box, you've just moved into a different box because you have an oppositional existence. When you have an oppositional existence, you have this tiny little box of things you can say and things you can do and things you can talk about. Whereas someone that's, like, sincerely expressing what they think and doesn't have like this weird like virtue signaling filter, or you know, is trying to like appeal to like this ideology or something, you know, that's when you can really be you. That's when you can actually be a rebel. You actually will say stuff that people haven't heard before. Anyway, I got 20k subs. That's crazy. Thank you guys so much. I honestly, it means a lot. And yeah, if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll make more.
I think this dude is interesting. I like it. I like his views. I like his opinions. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I wasn't familiar with your game. I did not know what to expect when getting to this. This is just, again, I just feel like this is just the result of identity politics becoming people's entire personalities. It really boils down to identity politics becoming their entire personality. That also ties in with the looks, right? They look the way they do because identity politics has become their religion, so to speak. That is really all there is. But yeah, subscribe to the dude and subscribe to me and like the video, and yeah,